I'm Strimbisky. I'm going to be trying to give pointers on communication. Let me grab my notes real quick. I'm clearly prepared. So the first thing I want to talk about is communication in terms of colors. So colors, I'm sure that if you play pubs, you know all about this, where someone will just scream red, and you're like, what does that mean? Okay, well, in Echo Arena, most teams use a color system of red, yellow, and green. If they're calling red and you have the disc, that means get rid of it now. There is a guy boosting on you, or there's a guy on your toes or about to take the disc. So basically, if your teammate has the disc, you need to be looking at them and calling a color. Red is telling the person with the disc they need to get rid of it right then. They have no time. Yellow, they have a little bit more time. They got to start thinking about what they got to do and get rid of it soon. Green means that they're completely fine. They have all the time in the world to do whatever they want. And personally, I think it's very, very, very important to really, really dial in on the fact that the green call is one of the most important. Of course, if you're not calling red, you're going to lose the disc a lot. But if you're not calling green, you're going to lose the disc almost the same amount of times. And I think that is a fact. If you don't call green because you just assume the disc holder knows they're fine, you're going to lose the disc. Your team will lose the disc and lose possession a lot. So the green call is just as important as any other color. You need to call red, you need to call yellow, and you need to call green. Another color that I don't see teams using is the blue color. And blue is the same as green, except it's specifically used in the case where you are getting a 3. So say that your team boosts down to the other team's bubble and gets the disc inside their bubble. If your team calls green, you're going to go score a 2-pointer. If your team calls blue, you're going to take the disc and walk it all the way out, and you're going to get a 3-pointer. And it's risky, but if it's blue, you have got infinite time. You're not even considering the fact that they might boost down. Sometimes a blue call can turn into a green call, and if the player is on their way out of the bubble to get a 3 and they hear green, they just get a 2. They just get a 2. People boost too fast that a green call does not in any way mean you can get a 3. Another thing that I want to talk about that's fundamental, a lot of teams will say, on the offensive joust, I'm going left or I'm going right. That's fine. On the offensive joust, everyone's looking the same way. You can say left or right. If you're upside down on the offensive joust, you need to use absolute coordinates. If I'm upside down and I'm going to my left, I say I'm going right. That just makes everyone's life easier. I'm not going to say I'm to your right or to your left. No, right or left. Absolute coordinates. That's just, in general, a rule of thumb. Now, if you're in the arena and you're playing, a match, you're passing with your teammates, you're going to have a teammate looking at you while you're looking at them. You can't say right or left because they're flipped for each player. What took me 3 seasons to figure out of being a VRML player is that there is no reason to just not use, what you should be doing is just saying cross, opposite, or same side. So if I'm in the tunnel and I'm in line with the teammate who has the disc, I will say same side tunnel. I'm not going to say I'm in the left tunnel. I'm going to say same side tunnel. That gives way more information than left or right. Now I have a video example here that I want to show that shows an example of both colors being used and the same side and opposite thing. So let's show that clip now.
Barely missing, that's more than impressive, because that is hitting the goal on that in any way, shape, or form. It's one of the hardest angles to get in this game, but as that said, Mad going to be going one-on-one here.
So as you can see here, I'm going for the disc, I get stunned, then Seal goes to recover it, and he blind slap passes it to Mad, who is on what I call the L block. In this play, Mad was calling red opposite L block, which gives Seal the information that he has no time and that opposite L is a pass option. So Sealable goes and gets that disc and he blind slap passes it to opposite L, which lets Mad go and score. It's a perfect example of colors and opposite same side. So another thing that I want to talk about that sort of leads in here is the back pass. And when you should back pass and when there's a bad bubble. And bad bubble is a call that my team only recently started calling. It means that at any point, if somebody sees that there's 4 defenders in the bubble, there's no advantage. It would be a 4v4 attempt. There's no advantage. There's no point in trying. You would call a bad bubble, which basically means back pass, slow it down. And the back pass, the person who's in the back, has the highest FOV of any player in terms of seeing the other team. If they're at the very back, they just look forward and they can see everything. And they can call back pass or bad bubble or really anything. Now here is another clip that just shows an example. I've got a couple, I believe, of bad bubble or back passes that immediately turn into goals. So let's go watch those.
Able to find his way to them as that's going to go all the way down to Sealable. Sealable now going to be able to flick that one up the Leverage. Leverage looking on the pull for Strem. Strem going to be able to take that one over the top of that.
So as you can see in this clip, Sealable has the disc and he's about to enter the bubble, but then he backs out and passes it to Leverage because Leverage was calling bad bubble. So this causes a back pass and then Leverage passes to me because I'm open. Mad then stuns the goalie and I decide to shoot on the goalie. It's a little bit risky because we didn't actually pull a defender here, but it's a great example of bad bubble and how perfectly it works.
Looking on the pull for Strem. Strem going to be able to take that one over the top of that.
Alright, so I've mostly covered what I want to cover in terms of fundamentals and communication that you need to do, that every player should be doing. Of course, that there's a lot to learn in terms of, you know, boosting and stuns and all the complexities of this game. You need to know a lot more than what I've laid out here. But I do want to show just a few more clips of just examples that I have. This next example that I'll show right here is an example of green call and why the green call is so important.
Reliable at the midfield. He's going to work it into the bubble areas. Sealable retrieves this disc over at the dot, trying to hit the right spot up above that.
Okay, so in this clip, Mad has the disc and he passes it to Sealable. Sealable gets it and almost immediately passes again, but he hears a green call and he holds on to the disc and he waits and looks for another option and he finds me up on the top and then I score. If he didn't hear the green call, he could have assumed he was red and made a pass that was bad or gets intercepted that ends up with our team losing possession. So that's why the green is so important. Now, the final example I want to share with you is just an example of what you can do with really, really good, consistent comms. My favorite thing in this game, in terms of communication, is when I start boosting somewhere and my team has the disc and I say, boosting top, and they just blindly dump it to the top and assume I'm going to get it, and I do. That is probably one of my favorite things to do because it's completely based off communication. And if your comms are good, you will make goals like this. So let's watch.
Leverage gonna be taking that one away as he's working that one over into the hands of Sealable. Sealable trying to go up the ceiling and a strip chance and another 3 gonna be coming out. So 14-8.
So for this play, at this point exactly, when me and Mad start boosting, I've already decided I'm boosting top, and I'm saying boosting top, boosting top, boosting top. Sealable hears that and he thinks, all right, he's boosting top. So he throws the disc around a defender to the top. And it looks like I catch that pass exactly how he intended, but he couldn't even see me. He just was going purely off communication, and I scored a 3. I love that. Anyways, thanks for watching.